Good afternoon, everybody. A reminder, please put your phones away as we start chapel here. I'll give you a second to do that. Good afternoon. We are certainly having a great fall term, and I want to thank you for your spirit and investment in community life. Thanks also for warmly welcoming so many recent guests, parents, grandparents, alumni. We are now in the heart of admission season, and hundreds of families will visit campus between now and the end of the calendar year. Thank you for helping share all the aspects with them of what makes Suffield such a special school. As you know, I like to use as many opportunities as possible to reinforce the core principles of our school: kindness, respect, leadership, and effort. These are the attributes we cherish most highly here. They shape our program and culture and are recognized in our highest school honors. They are values we want our graduates to carry forth into the world beyond our campus. This is why what Suffield emphasizes rests so starkly in contrast to the horrific violence perpetrated by Hamas terrorist attacks in Israel. What I want to reflect on is not about politics, and so many of the recent statements about Israel and Palestine relations are not at the heart of what we must condemn. We should all recognize the legitimate aspirations of the Israeli and Palestinian people, but Hamas does not represent these. Its focus is on trying to eradicate other human beings based on their religion. This intolerance is diametrically opposed to the respect for others that we cherish. There is no place in the world for this type of hate. We must condemn it as people of character and integrity. There is no gray area here, and my two fundamental points are: one, the terrorist attacks by Hamas that led to the worst mass killings of Jews since the Holocaust was a horrible atrocity that should be unequivocally condemned, as terrorist attacks are never justified. And two, anti-Semitism and intolerance are wholly inconsistent with the moral principles of Suffield Academy. Students of all backgrounds, races, and faith traditions are always welcomed and loved here. This is a fundamental part of community life at Suffield. I also want to reiterate that being empathetic, principled people of character, living a life of dignity, has virtue in and of itself. This is what our leadership program is all about, and why these central values are so steadfast. As one of my favorite writers, William Faulkner, said, "Human beings, alone among creatures, have a soul, a spirit capable of compassion and sacrifice and endurance. It is our privilege to help others endure by lifting their hearts, by reminding them of courage and honor and hope and pride and compassion and sacrifice, which have been the glory of our past." This is a deeply dark moment for humanity, but important time for us to reaffirm what we hold most dear: kindness, respect, leadership, and effort. These principles shape our community, and as we help you build the skills to enhance the world, one my generation will leave you with many complicated challenges, but wonderful opportunities for nurturing others and leaving a beneficial, principled legacy. We will now have the privilege of hearing from 8 members of our class of 2024, starting with Cameron and concluding with Hanso. Cameron.
My name is Cameron Cody, and I'm a 4-year senior from Suffolk, Canada. When I was younger, I loved to play basketball. Whenever I got the chance, I would shoot around on the basketball. Some days I would go out right after school at 3:30 and not stop playing until it was time for me to go to bed. Even though I was alone, I found peace in hearing the basketball swish through the net. I would love to recreate game-winning NBA scenarios like Kyrie in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, or Steph Curry's infamous half-court shot against the Thunder. Little things like this gave me happiness. I fell in love with shooting the basketball so much that my mom looked for someone to trade me, and little did she know, she found the person that would completely change my life. I first met Jazz when I was in 8th grade at a church basketball court in Amherst, Mass. I immediately figured out how good he was at basketball when I saw him shoot around. Chaz has pulled multiple records at UMass while only standing at 5'9". He is first all-time in assists, first all-time in steals, and 7th all-time in points. Knowing this was very intimidating for little 8th grade me, who was slightly overweight to say the least. When we began the workout, nothing was going well for me at all. We first started by doing some simple layup drills. Simple, right? Absolutely not. Filled with anxiety and stress, I whiffed my first 2 layups. He definitely thought I sucked. After we finished layups, we moved on to shooting, the one thing that I had confidence in. Not today. We started by doing alternating elbow shots, and I couldn't make a shot to save my life. This was going great. I thought to myself that maybe I could show off my dribbling skills. Not a chance. My hands decided to forget how to dribble, and I can't even manage to do a simple crossover. At this point in the workout, my chubby 8th grade self was gassed, and I had also never felt more embarrassed. I wanted to go home. Chaz gave me a reality check that day. If I wanted to be successful, maybe it wouldn't have been a bad idea for me to go for a run, but more importantly, I need to be more confident in myself. I'm so grateful that he taught me the importance of hard work and discipline. I wouldn't be where I am without his guidance. I know that you're watching this over in Iceland, and I just want to say thank you for everything you've done. I love you. Throughout these past 5 years, you've turned from a coach to a brother. I always feel like I can depend on you for anything. If I'm ever feeling sad and need to get stuff off my chest, I know I can count on you to help me out. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. You've taught me how to become a leader through basketball camp and even when we hoop late at night, just the 2 of us. Even though I don't have the love for the game as I used to, the core values you implemented onto me has benefited me in all other aspects of my life. But one thing I can't let you forget is the one time I beat you one-on-one. In all seriousness, thank you for taking me under your wing all these years. I know I can count on you when I need it the most. I'd also like to take the time to thank my family for everything they've done for me. Dad, I want to thank you for constantly supporting me and pushing me to become the best version of myself. You always hold me accountable for school and the gym, and I can't thank you enough for making me put hard work in. I use what you've taught me to push myself as hard as I can, even when it doesn't look like there's a purpose. Thank you for teaching me to be mentally and physically tough. I love you. Les, I also want to thank you for always being in my corner. Even though at times it doesn't seem like it, I appreciate the advice you give me on how to overcome and handle all the stresses life throws at me. Your guidance and love do not go unnoticed. The love and energetic spirit you portray, even after the accident, inspires me. Thank you for everything you've helped me with. I love you. Last but not least, Mom and Hannah. Where do I even start with you two? Your vibrant and loving personalities make you each stand out in a crowd full of people. The way you each motivate and protect me makes me feel so grateful that I get to call you guys my mom and my sister. You each have helped me overcome traumatic experiences, and I can't thank you enough for it. Mom, I appreciate everything you do for me each day. I could go on and on about everything you do for me and how lucky I am to have you, but I just don't have the time. I love you more than you'll ever know. Hannah, thank you for coming from Miami to come listen to my speech. I'm so lucky to have a sister that can talk to about anything. I love you. If you all could take one piece of advice from my speech, it's to love and appreciate the people in your life that genuinely care about you. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your day.
The first brick falls into place, then another, and another. Over the last 4 years, the home that Suffield is to me has grown. With every day, another brick adds to the foundation. With every memory, another brick. I have 2 vivid memories of my time at Suffield Academy, and I want to use this time to share them with you. The first is my first swim practice. If I was given a sentence to describe myself, something about swimming would have to be included, which is why I bring it up today. My first time in the Andy Lowe pool was in December of 2017, right after the lowest point in my life. I was in physical therapy after a traumatic experience with club foot surgical recovery. Mr. Lowe and Mr. Lynch allowed me to swim with the team at a couple of their pre-Christmas practices, and I happily obliged. I was extremely out of shape, and it was my first time getting back into the pool after surgery without a cast. Even though I was slower than everyone else there, and it was only for a couple days, I understood Suffield was a place where I could become the best I could be, both inside and outside of the pool. From that point on, my goal was to get in and become a strong swimmer with confidence in my ability. I never wanted to experience that low again. This memory started the foundation of the home I now know of as Suffield. The second memory takes place on my first day of freshman year. It was 2020, where all anyone could think about was getting sick. I was in the dining hall, surrounded by plexiglass, and I was alone. I was too afraid to go up to the few people I knew and asking to sit there, instead keeping to myself. A senior noticed me sitting alone and told me to sit at his table, and I'm so glad I did. I remember sitting with a bunch of football players who were happy to talk to me, a freshman, making me feel like I was a part of the Suffield community. That dinner changed my perspective of Suffield from day one. At that moment, I truly felt like I found what I had been looking forward to from that first swim practice, the sense of community that makes this school special. COVID took too much away from us, but this was something it couldn't touch. The home was building even on the first day. Now, I'm the happiest I've been in a long time. Senior year may be stressful, but Suffield has become a home to me in so many ways. Now that I don't live in Suffield anymore, it's become even more apparent. I spend more time here than at home, and I'm fine with that, because now I have 2 homes, 2 communities, 2 support systems. I'm happy to call this place my home. Lastly, I want to thank all those who have helped me these past 4 years, including my parents, my advisors Mr. Lowe, Mr. Bullock, and Ms. Chan, and my roommates Thomas, Yaroslav, and my brother Max. You have all been there for me, and I'm thankful. Hi Suffield, I'm Joe Juliano, a 4-year senior from both Gainesville, Georgia, and Suffield Academy. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Ella and I'm a 4-year day student from Springfield, Massachusetts. For a while I've been thinking of my life as a series of wins and losses, which is crazy for someone who doesn't play sports, but I made my life out to be something that was happening to me, just a tally of scores. After a lot of self-reflection, contemplation of the meaning of life, and forgiveness, my perspective has changed. Nowadays I see life as a series of memories made of moments to reminisce about at family parties. My parents, my brother, and I like to call these moments, particularly our funniest ones, our best bits. For example, when we picked up trash on the side of the road on Easter one year, or the multiple times we had to chase a flying squirrel out of our house. There was a time I marched in a Veterans Day parade with my grandparents and uncle, despite none of them ever being in the Army. I still don't know how we got that gig. Or in the summer when we started going to bingo every Thursday night and bought an inhuman amount of cards, to the point where we started stamping those numbers like it was our job. There was the time I let a stranger talk to me about cable TV for 20 minutes straight in an IKEA, or the time my family, including my grandparents, cousins, aunt, and uncle, all went on a trip to Alaska and decided we need to experience the fisherman lifestyle. So we paid a guy to get us fishing licenses and take us to a sketchy-looking lake and a sketchy-looking bus. The man then told us the salmon would be easier to catch because they're, quote-unquote, at the end of their life cycle. Not one of us caught a live fish that day. Or when my brother Norm and I were younger, and we'd make up songs in church. The best one called "The Balls Go Flying," about being hit in the head with a ball, which is something that happened to me a lot as a child. There was a time my mom was desperately trying to get me and Norm into a CCD class, which is basically a religious Sunday school. And in order to get us put in our respective grade levels, she had to stress to the principal just how much we prayed at home, which was a complete lie. But she was so convincing that they asked her to teach the 3rd grade class while working a full-time job, and she agreed. There was a time I was 12 and my dad and I were lost in a train station in Germany, and he thought we were going to miss the train. So after we ran frantically up and down several flights of stairs and asked everyone in existence for help, he told me, "Ella, I don't know what we're going to do if we miss this train." It turns out the train was running late anyway, and we were 2 minutes early. But my absolute favorite was when we went on a guided walking tour on vacation and noticed this teenage boy who wore a beanie all the time, every single day, and my dad swore it was the same beanie he had, one that connected to Bluetooth and played music into his ears. So with this information, my mom, having found out his name, goes up to him, never having spoken to him before, and says, "Hey Skylar, I know your secret. I know there's music in your hat." He just said no, with, according to my mom, a mixture of confusion and disgust. He and his mother disappeared off the walking tour, and we were convinced it was because of us. And although I love all our crazy moments, I love the mundane ones too. Listening to The Cure on road trips to Vermont, gossiping over pasta at family parties, having coffee with our grandparents on Sunday afternoons, and the quiet summer nights where we'd sit in the kitchen and talk about everything we were worried about. And I know that no matter how many losses I experience, there's so much love behind me, and I don't have to go through anything alone. Because chances are next Sunday I'll be surrounded by my cousins and grandparents again, and I'll forget about the test I didn't do so well on, or the fact that my chapel speech was the second possible week. So I want to say thank you to my family. I love you, and thank you for listening.
Good afternoon, Suffield. My name is Jacob Carrol. I'm a 4-year student from Suffield, Connecticut. Here at Suffield Academy, I'm often asked, are you a day student or a boarder? As an underclassman, I found that question difficult because I'm kind of in the middle. I was unsure. I do have a roommate, but it's my 12-year-old brother, Mikey. And unlike the Borders, I live here all year round. When I was 10, my parents told my siblings and me that we'd be moving to Suffolk Academy. I was hesitant. I didn't want my life to change, and I didn't want to leave the friends that I grew up with. Also, I didn't want my dad to teach my friends, since my only experience with my dad helping with my math homework was limited to angry battles at the kitchen table. Luckily, he has turned out to be a much more relaxed teacher, and some of my friends have even told me that he's the GOAT. This is our family's 7th year living at Suffolk Academy, making it the 7th year I've been Mikey's roommate. While Mikey and I don't share homework or go to classes together, he's a very important part of my Suffolk experience. Like many roommates on campus, we've had fun times and laughs, as well as arguments. My little brother has followed and looked up to me and my friends, and has been a fan of all things Suffield since I've been here. He's cheered me on sporting events such as broomball and soccer, and loves being on the sideline for lacrosse games. His support and the support of the rest of my family has allowed me to feel more confident and thankful for our move to Suffield Academy. After a freshman year during COVID, I contemplated if I really wanted to return to Suffield Academy. My parents told me that I had to experience a real Suffield Academy school year before making a decision about what was best. The friends that I grew up with who were attending Suffield High didn't have the same restrictions that we had here, and I felt like I was missing out. When other students joined me on campus for sophomore year, I started to feel the real energy of Suffield Academy. During sophomore year Tiger Games, which we won by the way, I felt a turning point. Seeing everyone together, having fun, and being more competitive made me realize that Suffield was a place I could fit in as a student, not just a faculty kid. Additionally, the friendships I've formed here have been an important part of what makes Suffield Academy special to me. For example, the Milkmen are some of my best friends, and I know we will remain close for years to come, and we will have memories that will last forever. From the outside, we seem like a random group of boys from different places with not a lot in common, but Suffield has reinforced the notion that we are more alike than different. Whether it be golfing this summer, basketball on Saturdays, or other antics, their friendship has made my time at Suffield memorable. As a senior reflecting on the move to Suffield Academy, I'm grateful for this special experience I've had both as a faculty kid and a student. The most valuable thing Suffield Academy gave to me was the importance of community. The ability to integrate into our school community the way Borders are, while maintaining a close relationship with my family and friends in town is a privilege that I don't take for granted. As a senior, I try my hardest to embrace this community the same way that it embraced my family and I. Before I finish, I would like to give a quick few thank yous. Ms. Henley for being a great teacher for 2 straight years, Mr. Pistol and the rest of the pack for being the best advisor and advisory on campus, and I'm also very grateful that I didn't pass the placement exam to take AP Lang, because if I had, I wouldn't have had the great opportunity to take English 2 with Ms. Rollins, who gets a big thank you for not only that class, but for continued support since that time. Most importantly, my family, including Noel, for all that they have done for me, and happy early 16th birthday, Ava, and happy birthday to BC on Thursday. Thank you, Suffield, and have a great day.
Hi, Suffield. I'm Keifer Priest, 3-year senior from Lake Forest, Illinois. For those of you who are not a senior, thinking about a chapel speech forces you to reflect. My reflection took me all the way back to the summer of 2016 to a camp experience at Nantahala Outdoor Center. By the end of this week, I was given a title. I was called the Grim Reaper. So at the top of every rapid, every turn in the river, I made it clear to myself and everyone on the water that we were going to die. I was concerned that I wasn't experienced, and I still do, and I knew that I had an irrational fear of drowning. While it's true, I wasn't experienced, I did not drown, and I did learn some valuable lessons. Those lessons are what I want to talk about today. I'd like to share 3 things that I think are applicable to Suffield. 1, it's important to do what you fear. 2, it's great to be together, even if it's forced. 3, going through hardships builds relationships. Regarding it's important to do what you fear, if I had truly been in charge of my life, I would have never left McKinley Elementary in Davenport, Iowa, my hometown. I had no reason to leave Davenport. I had great friends, recess was sick, robust snack trading market, school wasn't that serious, pretty calm. But in fact, I did not have control, so I had to do some things I feared. If I would not have left, I would never, lived in Brazil, moved to Chicago, graduated from Cardigan, lived in Sami, Powers, Fuller, given chapel speech, attended classes, a lot of different stuff. So, starting Suffield is like being on top of that river. I didn't know what was ahead. What I've learned is leaning into any experiences that challenges who you think you are is almost certainly going to benefit you in the end. Esse quam videre is in the same nature. The act of trying is essential to finding out who you are. Which leads me to my second point. It's great to be together even if it's forced. At Suffield, I love study hall. I really love study hall, I do. The whole dorm is forced to be in one place, literally. 20 kids are packed in and told to do work independently. What could go wrong? So our response has been to invite collaboration, no matter how long the added time. I've had a single physics assignment drag on for 5 hours with the help of friends. And I cannot think of a better assignment or a better process of completing it. Nothing is more fun, and many of my best memories on campus came during study hall, even though it was forced. 5 classes, admission tours, sit-down lunch, and rigorous practices, homework. Homework is the last thing I want to do. But it helps to convene with friends, crack some jokes, and get it done. Jokes aside, one of the things I've really enjoyed about Suffield is my classmates' high expectations for their work and their responsibility, and taking the responsibility seriously. Number 3, going through hardship builds relationships. Great example of this is this Saturday night after the Brunswick game. We drove 2 hours down to play Brunswick in front of a hostile student section. It was pouring rain. While the team had some standout performances, I was frustrated with my own play. I got trucked twice. I let up a touchdown. Definitely not my best game. I got on that bus feeling defeated. But just a couple minutes into the ride home, over some boxes of shared pizza, I heard a few jokes. At first, I tried not to laugh, bit my cheek a little, but wanted to keep my somber attitude apparent. But soon I couldn't help but smile. Sitting around chatting, laughing, I felt like we were coming together as a team. Together we got rained on, we lost, and we didn't like it. But hardship is important in as much as it builds relationships. In conclusion, there are some parallels to my experience as the Grim Reaper in a summer camp to my 3-year experience as a student at Suffield. There are 3 things I found important. It's important to do what you fear. It's great to be together even if it's forced. And going through hardships builds relationships. These things are important because of Suffield's motto, esse quam videre. The only way we are going to be, rather than to seem, is to try, lean into new things, and understand the struggles we face are building lasting relationships. I've greatly enjoyed Suffield for these things, and I look forward to experiencing these points for the rest of the school year and beyond. I also believe these relationships will serve us for the rest of our lives. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. Thank you.
As one goes through the younger stages of life, often everything can seem to go their way without any hardships. Whether it's being the best at a musical instrument, the best player on various sports teams, a top student in their class, or even just having that group of friends that makes you feel like you're on top of the world, life seems great. Strolling through middle school, making memories while also being a good person, nothing can beat it. The only worries they have is how am I going to get to my friend's house tonight, and are we riding bikes or is my mom driving me? Mine in middle school is simple, but moving on and getting older in life is a whole other beast waiting for you without you even realizing it. As we get older, the brain changes and our circumstances change, making us think about the situations in a deeper sense and the effects that can come from it. As pressure builds up for people, it can eventually break their self-confidence, changing the way they view life. You see, self-confidence is crucial for everyone, without the person even noticing. That willingness to make that big play to win the game, or to go up to that person and introduce yourself without worrying what could come from it, that's the beauty of life, especially high school. All that requires confidence. Getting that great grade on tests or being the player the coach relies on builds your confidence and makes you feel admirable. From being the top player ever, but when that confidence cracks just a bit, your mind can make you question every decision you make on the field, just even a simple throw back to your teammate. While these obstacles one must face can be demoralizing and affect all areas of life, It is the resilience one possesses that pushes themselves to overcome challenges they have encountered. With support from family, friends, teammates, and mentors, the growth one can have from an experience like this is life-changing. My high school career has been a journey filled with highs and lows. Entering Long Meadow High School, I was able to start on the varsity football team alongside my older brother Sean for the last 3 games of the senior season. Having the same aspirations for the spring, giving myself the chance to play varsity baseball with Sean, I did everything I could. Due to COVID hitting a week before tryouts, we never played. Coasting through summer and the fall of my sophomore year, I needed to make a change. As many circumstances changed in my life, I was not motivated in and out of the classroom. So with that, I started to look at Suffield as Sean had come here the year before for a PG year. As I've had many challenging times here that has made me question myself, coming to Suffield has given me many experiences from which to grow, making it one of the best decisions I've made. As my sophomore baseball season began, I put a significant amount of pressure on myself to show my team what I could do, causing my confidence to eventually diminish. Rather than having fun and playing the game I've always loved, I forced myself to be perfect, hurting my performance and causing me to not trust myself. Despite the work I put in during the off-season going into my junior season, nothing changed. Rather, my confidence worsened and my performance showed it. I felt lost the whole season as I was left to fixing myself with no support other than from very few people. But during these times, it's the people around you that you surround yourself with in your life that get you to the other side. For me, it's been my parents and my brother Sean, always being there for me, giving endless advice and guiding me to a better place. Also along with them, Robbie Kurzer and Keifer Priest have been an outlet for me, especially in the dorms, the past 2 years. So thank you for that. Through everything that's happened, I found myself again, growing from these experiences and making changes in my life to ensure I become a better person from this. I've persevered through these challenging times for an exceedingly long time now. Unfortunately, my perseverance has paid dividends. Now I'm a committed baseball player at Grinnell College, a place that will take me in and allow me to continue to grow and demonstrate my capabilities, along with having one final year to play with Sean. My high school baseball career to date has not been what I expected, but has made me the person I am today. I'm proud of myself for regaining the confidence I had lost and the passion for baseball I once had. I will continue to grow as a player and person, bettering myself and the people around me. My name is Colin Tasan, a 3-year senior from Long Meadow, Massachusetts, and this is my story. Thank you.
Growing up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I never pictured my life to be anywhere but there. I could go so far to say that my life had been mapped out for me from the moment I walked into preschool at age 2. Unintentionally, there is a cycle in Baton Rouge that has been present for years, where kids go from the same preschool to various K-8 schools, end up together in high school or at LSU for college, and eventually marrying someone they met along the way. Throughout my childhood, this lifestyle is all that I had ever known, and leaving the culture and the people in Louisiana was something I never thought would happen. In Baton Rouge, everyone was known to be obnoxiously friendly and overly talkative. It was completely normal to go out your way and have a 5-minute conversation with someone you had just met in the grocery store. Manners play a major role in the way you speak to adults. The only acceptable way of speaking to any parent, teacher, or even babysitter is yes ma'am or no sir. In kindergarten, I clipped down as punishment for not saying yes ma'am to my teacher, but from then on, I never had a problem with my manners. This was completely normal to me, and it was not until I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina, that I realized this was only the case in the Deep South. Right after I turned 14, my dad's job relocated to Charlotte. I expected my dad to find another job in Louisiana, but my parents had other plans for us as they saw this as the perfect opportunity to break the cycle and let us experience life from a different perspective. Growing up, it was tradition for my family to spend our summers in the mountains of North Carolina to escape the Louisiana humidity. Because my best family memories were made during the summer Asheville trips, such as gem mining and hiking, I anticipated the move to Charlotte to be very similar. Saying goodbye to my friends and the life I had known was very difficult for me, but I was very hopeful that I would find my place in this new environment. Although it was hard to say goodbye, leaving behind all my friends did not hit me until I walked into my middle school and realized I knew no one. I sat in my homeroom class on the first morning, remembering how it had been every other year, jumping off the school bus with all my neighborhood friends while so excited to see all the people I hadn't seen all summer. But being in my homeroom this year just felt different. I felt out of place and hoped it would just be like this in the beginning. I got involved in many different sports and activities that I did in Louisiana, hoping I could make living in Charlotte feel like I was back home. Everything I tried just seemed different, and I often found myself feeling lost. Although it took a while, I eventually found my place, but still knew I wanted more from my high school experience. My older brother was at an all-boys boarding school in Virginia and seemed to love the environment, and I knew I would love something similar. I began to look at boarding schools during the winter of my sophomore year, and I knew Suffield was where I wanted to be. Leaving my family behind and going 760 miles away to live on my own was out of my comfort zone, and I was hesitant to such a drastic change. Since day one of being at Suffield, I have felt so welcome, and I quickly found my place. I feel like Suffield has allowed me to grow and become the best version of myself. Thinking about only getting 2 years at Suffield makes me upset because of all the memories I missed out on, but I cannot be more grateful for the lifetime of memories I have and will continue to make during my time here. Even though my family is all over the world right now, as my mom, dad, and little sister are in Charlotte, younger brother is in Virginia, and older brother in London, having my little brother Henry here has made me feel as if my family is together, and now I don't feel so far away. When asked where I'm from at school or on a tour, the answer is Charlotte, North Carolina, but this is not where I feel most at home. Even though Baton Rouge is 1,500 miles from Suffield, these two places together make me feel most at home. Looking back, if you would have told me while living in Louisiana that I would end up at a boarding school in Connecticut, I would have laughed and asked you what a boarding school was, because the only kids who go to boarding school from Louisiana are sent off as a punishment. I have learned many lessons along my journey from Baton Rouge, Louisiana to Suffield, Connecticut, and would not be who I am if it were not for these experiences. So hi Suffield, my name is Corinne Powell, and I'm a 2-year boarder from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Dear Logan, I hope the Korean military service is treating you well and not making you do too many push-ups. When I picture you with a rifle guarding our border, I sleep better, thinking my home is safe from North Korean invasions. Suffield is the same. Classes start 20 minutes later now, but it's still hard to get up in the morning. Huge thanks to Sean, I live in the room with the best view on campus, Powers 205, which you used to call home last year. I recall those winter moments when we gathered in your room, escaping the cold with Will, Brandon, and Andrew, enjoying FIFA matches, gobbling Chinese food, and dreaming about the bright future college days. While I'm rooming with Jay this year, who sometimes forgets to clean up, I hear you got a dozen roommates at the military base. I hope you're getting along with them too. As I approach the end of my high school journey, I often reflect on myself. I often reflect on the person I was in my freshman year. Looking back, I see a young teen fresh from middle school, facing new challenges, and often masking true emotions with too much confidence. You stood by me as a mentor during that transformative year. Even though you were hard to spot on campus like a mole rarely seen in common spaces, I cherish the moments of you inviting me into your Brewster room, assuring me that your door was always open for any concerns. Your words, simple yet profound, provided comfort. Thank you. I also have mentees who excel in all areas. Among them, one even won the Chinese prize over me, calling me Mr. Honorable Mention on every occasion. One is a tri-varsity athlete who tries to drag me to the gym every afternoon. The absence of you and the entire senior class from last year looms large in every corner of Southfield. The void is tangible, echoing the laughter, wisdom, and leadership that once filled these halls. Navigating through senior fall has been an interesting journey for me. The weight of responsibilities, the anticipation of the future, and the introspection it brings is quite overwhelming. Reflecting on this, I've come to realize the immense pressures and challenges you must have faced with during your senior year. Even among your own stresses about the future, you took the time to guide and support me, which I now recognize was no small act. This year, inspired by your example, I aim to be a strong support and mentor to others, even with my own challenges. As my early decision deadline for college approaches in just 2 weeks, it's striking how quickly time passes. I hope your 18 months of service fly by just as swiftly. We miss you and take care. This is a letter I composed to Logan Lee class of 2023, an individual who I looked up to the most. One thing I deeply value about Southfield is the opportunity to connect with individuals who consistently support me and serve as role models. With that in mind, I extend my deepest gratitude to the best advisor, Mrs. Graham, and Mr. Graham, for their unwavering support throughout my Southfield journey. Your presence has been pivotal. I couldn't have achieved this without you, and I mean it. Being an international student, I am about 7,000 miles away from my parents. Yet every day, I felt a piece of home because of you both. Thank you for being my family away from home. Additionally, my sincere thanks goes to Mrs. Vasilenko for her enduring kindness, and to Mr. Atkins for providing me with such a remarkable opportunity. My name is Hanso Lim, and I'm a 4-year senior from Seoul, South Korea. Thank you.